Guys, just a quick video. 1960 BSA A10 Golden Flash. Problem with my kickstart, the kickstart was jamming. It would just seize up. I actually thought the engine seized at one point, but discovered that it's a kickstart problem. So I've dismantled it. There wasn't many videos online, so hopefully this will help you guys out there if you're doing a similar job, just to give you an insight into it. I'm by no means an expert, but this will give you an idea. I initially thought I'd be taking just the case off. I took the primary chain case cover off, and it was just a case, but I was thinking it'd be the same with this, and I would just be taking a case off. So initially I took the kickstart pedal off, the gear change pedal off, stripped it all down, thinking I'd just be pulling the case off and leaving them, which would expose the mechanism inside. Which I learned it's not the case. You're not just taking off like a primary chain case cover. It's a different setup. So when I took the gearbox cover off, I'd taken these off, the kickstart and the gear change, and I'll show you that. So initially I got it off. It stuck on the shaft. Took a bit of persuading to come off because of this shaft was stuck in the bush. So this is, just to give you a look, this is the inside of what we're seeing here. Your gear change sits in here, and there's two springs ends, fits in this stopper. This is your quadrant. It's located with a spring in here which keeps it in place. The other part of the spring goes on here, which when you refit you have to reload, but I'll give you a tip. This is a speedometer drive. I'll give you a tip that I found out to my cost. When you're taking the gearbox cover off at an A10, keep the kickstart on and keep the gear change lever on. Keep them on. You notice that I've marked them here, just so I know that they go exactly back on where they came from. Now, because it's spring loaded, bring your lever for the clutch and put it at the front. I can try and hold this some way. This is spring loaded and it rests against it. If you don't do that, it'll unwind, which is not a problem. You can easily wind it back round and put it on here again. I've just sat the quarter pin in there just to keep it in place just now to show you guys. I'll take you to the bike now. As I say, hopefully if this helps one person, I'm glad. Right, this is what we're looking at when we take the cover off now. There we go. This is the part that's worn in mine. When I opened it up, those metal parts down here. This is a pinion drive for the kickstart. And this is a quadrant with the teeth on it. Both of them mesh together for your kickstart. As I say, this is metal parts down here, which indicated the oil was very silvery metal particles in it, so it's obviously been wearing away for a long time. It's 1960, it's been kick-started a few times from 1960, I would reckon. We're now March 26, so God knows how many times it's been kick-started over this period. So as I say, it gives you an idea. It fits onto these dowels. And this is where the shaft goes in, where I couldn't get the cover off, it was stuck in there. So when you fit it, and you're fitting it back in, have the kickstart like that jammed in place, and when you're putting it on, pull the kickstart slightly back and that'll let it line up with the splines here. Just pull it slightly back and it will line up and go into the studs. If you find that it's sticking slightly, it's a speedo drive. Turn the back wheel forward and you'll notice the speedo drive is turning. That'll help it mesh up with the speedo drive in the case. It's just little things that I've found out. See, this is the first time I've done this. So trial and error, it's helped me. When I initially took the job that I was doing was initially because the kickstart was jamming due to this being worn, the pinion. All you do to remove that is remove the nut. There's a lock-in tab washer here, and then there's a spring, a small spring behind it. So that's what I was doing that for, because the kickstarter was sometimes locking up on me. But when I started dismantling, I discovered that there was no gasket on the faces here. So I've got a new gasket somewhere. Yeah, it's somewhere. Oh, there they are there. Yeah, new gasket. I bought a couple of them, but we only need one. So I'll put a new gasket, possibly a smear of some good sealer on it as well while I'm at it, just to try and stop the leaks. So that was the initial, because that was locking up, but I'm glad I'd done the job, because when I took it off, for some reason there was no gasket whatsoever, hence my gearbox had a thimble full of oil underneath it every morning. So it's been a good call to get in there and do it. And when you're changing the pinion, there's a lock war tab washer here, knock that back, release the nut, and it's spring loaded. It'll just come right off there. There you go. You can see that. So I'll set that to the side, keep them all together, away come off, and you'll notice in here, in the pinion, there's a spring, that just clips off, slips off. There you go. You notice in here there's also a bush, a brass or copper bush. Slide that off and renew that as well, because there's some ridges in it. There's obviously normal oil-way ridgeways in it by the looks, like a channel on it, if you can see it. It's supposed to be there, but it's very worn, I can feel it. So I'm going to replace that as well. I think they're about £15 from any classic motorcycle parts supplier. So I'm waiting on a new pinion gear wheel coming and the bush here. And obviously I've got my gasket, so that's what to do when you're rebuilding it. Very important to keep this spring loaded. Well, it's the only way you're going to be able to put it on anyway. So do this, jam it with the arm for your clutch, and then when you slit them on and you're lining it back up onto the casing, pull your kickstart back a bit and it will line up and mesh with the other gears in the quadrant, and it will slip on. And as I say, if you have any problems, I was getting mine on, it was short of a few mil. It was stopping when I put it on, just about out here, a few mil, it wouldn't go on any further. And I discovered that the speedo drive was stopping it from just getting slim on that final bit. It was this part here, meshing with the drive here. And as I say, I turned the back wheel and I turned and let it slip on. I just done a trial run, fitting it back on and fitting back on the quadrant and everything to see how it went all back together. So I'm just waiting on parts now, and hopefully they'll be here today. A new pinion gear. You can't really see it in this, but as I say, it's worn, it is worn. There's some parts off at the front here, and there's only one place that the metal pieces could have came from, because they were directly below it where it goes. It sits on here, and directly below it in the casing here, those broken pieces and metal shavings, and I can see on it it's worn. So that's where it's came from. So there's 4 nuts and various screws. I think there's 4 nuts and studs here and 3 screws to keep it all together. I've made a drawing here to replicate the casing where the fixtures go. And when you loosen all them off, it'll just come off hopefully, yeah. But just watch, hold your kickstart back, put this in place and secure it on your arm, and it'll slip off if you pull it back. And as I say, when you're removing the case, don't take the kickstart pedal off or the gear change pedal, leave them in situ, and that'll aid. I thought these had to come off and then take my case off. I was wrong, because it all stays in place together here. So hopefully this will help you guys. Thanks for watching. As I say, there wasn't any other videos that I could see on YouTube about taking the cover off a gearbox in a BSA A10 1960. So I thought I'd put this on. Hopefully it'll help one person and just give you an insight into the job before you go and do it. It just opens the pages a bit and gives you an insight. Thanks for watching, guys.